Welcome back to the channel, YouTube. I'm Navy Dad. I'm channeling my inner redneck, and this is Rusted Bolt's Garage. Apologies for my attire. I am channeling my inner redneck. What am I saying? I'm from Texas, we're all rednecks. Anyway, I hadn't planned on doing any filming today, but I have to make a repair that the PO did to this truck by snapping off one of the sensors on the side of the head. While doing that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to upgrade the center steering shaft and get rid of this nasty ass, worn out 200,000 mile rag joint. And of course, we're going to use the venerable Jeep Cherokee. That's right. This is a Jeep Cherokee center shaft. Now, the reason why it is a direct fit, back in the day, AMC couldn't afford to build everything, so they outsourced a lot of stuff. And they outsourced, one of the things was the steering column. That's why if you get an old Jeep and it looks like you got GM keys that have an AMC stamp on them, well, yeah, they're GM, because it was a Saginaw Steering column. So anyway, this is a direct fit with very little modification. You have got to break the column apart, which is kind of a pain in the ass, and there's a plastic thing, I'll show you here in a minute, that you've got to break off. Then you got to grease it up and put it back together, and it works fine. There is one modification that you have to do to the top of the steering column, and I wasn't going to do any of this until I change out my steering column to a tilt wheel, but since I had to move the steering center section of the steering column to drill out the frickin' sensor, might as well go do the upgrade now and go ahead and show you how to do it. There's a really good article on, I think it's on GMT400.com, and I'll put a link below, which is very detailed if you want more information on it. So I'm not plagiarizing. I just thought I would go ahead and do this since I got to do the repair anyway. So this will be a quick one. Let's get going. Okay, so like I said, this is a quickie. Basically what we have here is a busted off sensor from the previous owner. I didn't do that. Gauge still doesn't work worth a shit, so I'm going to put an aftermarket gauge in, and I got to put it in there because it's not long enough to fit to the other side. So while I'm doing this, you've got to pull your steering strut out of the way because I can't get my drill in there. So, or I mean your steering shaft. That's the old POS, and I'm going to replace it with a Jeep Cherokee one. So this is just a quickie video on how to do that. Okay, so to remove the busted sensor that your stupid previous owner did for you, go to Advanced Auto Riley's and get a screw or bolt extractor. I got this size, which is a number 4. Alright, so this of course is why you have to remove your steering shaft. You can't get your drill in there. Okay, so what this ended up being is not a broken off sending unit. It was a very badly stripped block plug. So I had to drill the shit out of it and get it out. But it looks like, I kept wondering, it's like, why the hell is this being so hard to get out? It's just brass. No, it wasn't. So what I had to do is drill the crap out of it, and I finally beat it with a hammer and got it out. So now I got to clean up the threads. But I think somebody tried to drill it out previously, and that's why it looked like a snapped off sending unit, but yeah, it's just a block plug. So now I gotta clean up all this shit. Okay, I know most of you are probably going, you just drilled into the block, man, and you got metal shavings in there. Why didn't you put some grease on your drill bit? Well, I was pissed off and I didn't care, and I probably should have done that. And this engine's not going to be in this truck very much longer anyway. So here's a pro tip. Take a toothpick and put grease on it, and then go around right inside your hole, and I'm gonna need to get another one, and just drag it out like that, and you'll be good to go. I'm also gonna flush the block one more time too. Okay, so well, we finally got it out. Had to use a host of friggin' big ass tools to get that damn thing out. And I'll tell you what, I got to retap the threads, and finding an empty 3/8 NPT 18 tap is about impossible. Advanced AutoZone doesn't have it, or Advanced Auto Riley's. Lowe's Depot doesn't have it, and so I was about to have to go online. But if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's one place you can always count on to having weird shit, and that's Elliott's Hardware. They are the best. And no, this is not a plug. I've just been trading with them for many, many years, and I don't get anything. I'm just a small fish. But if you're in Dallas area and you can't find something and you don't want to deal with it online and you need it right away, freaking call Elliott's, man. They'll have it. All right, let's get that freaking steering shaft in, shall we? Okay, so you can see I'm banging it out. It's almost a direct fit from 84 through, I think, 96. You can use the actual same rod. And in 97 to 01, they changed it, you know, went to dual airbags and all that sort of thing, and changed that. So there's a plastic thing inside, so you've got to separate and bust that plastic thing. Okay, I may have confused that a little bit. I'm not sure what year it was that they actually changed the shafts. Somewhere between 1984 and 2001, probably when they added airbags to it. But if you get a steering shaft that has this little plastic tab on it on the end of the thinner piece, break off that thing. Then you're going to have to put it in a vise and beat the shit out of it. Heat it up first, probably. Beat the shit out of it so you can separate the two pieces. Then there are going to be two plastic retainers that you're going to have to break off. Those retainers are part of the collapsible steering column, and in later years they put these hard tabs in there to make it really, really hard to move that up and down to adjust it for your steering column. So break those off, grease it up, put it back together, and you'll be able to move it freely. Fairly freely anyway. Okay, before you insert the bottom half of the rod into the top half of the shaft of the steering component, make sure that you grease it up really well. Okay, the only other modification you really need to do to this is when you install this, you're going to have to make a slight modification. Where's my stupid, there it is, to get the bolt fit. So the bolt won't go across. It's a little bit different design right there than the GM. So what you want to do is take your grinder and just grind a small notch right there. So we'll do that. I'll show you. Okay, so you can see how I notched it just a little bit there, and slide the puppy back in, put your bolt in, and you can see it screws in. You only have to take off a little bit. I probably took off a little bit more than I needed to there because my Sharpie didn't really work and it was a little bit lower than I should have been. Okay, once you have your shaft greased up, you'll have to gently knock it down, knock it in slowly, and don't push it down too far the first time, because you want to go ahead and bolt down the bottom one first. Get this as close as possible. I'll give you measurements here in a second. As you can, and then knock it back in place slowly. I can't do this with freaking one hand, but that's what you're going to do with two hands. Hold on. Okay. So there it is. Actually, I was able to push it up with both hands because I cleaned up my shaft enough. I'm sorry. But, oh geez, like a little kid, huh? Okay, and now that you have your groove right there, you just put your screw back in place and lock it down, and you're set. This will help a lot and get rid of the slop. And again, you can do this with any GMT400 truck. And it's pretty simple, pretty easy. You know, you can get these steering shafts. I think I paid like maybe $15 at Pick and Pull. So, and just make sure you get all the hardware that goes with it. Okay, well, at least we got it out. We had to get a bigger one, of course. It always takes a bigger hammer, right? And we did get it out, so we got that going for us. And of course, now you know how to upgrade your steering shaft and get rid of that OBS GMT400 steering wheel slop. And of course, that will work on all of the models. That'll work on your pickup trucks, that'll work on Tahoes, it'll work on Suburbans, whatever, from 88 to 98, and 99 one-tons. Alright, well, that's Navy Dad. I'm out. Boys, you be careful. See you soon. Hi YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Apologies for my attire, I am channeling my inner redneck today. No, fuck. Apologies, I am channeling my inner redneck. Damn it. Apologies for my attire, I am channeling my inner redneck. God damn it.